Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, I have already shown you how to design this add new donor form. Okay, so if you have not watched my previous video, then just go to description there. I have put the link for my previous video, or you can just click on the suggestion on the right side of your screen. Okay, so in this video, I am going to show you how to populate your new donor ID from the database and how to save this data into the database and which table we have to create. Okay, so let me just close this and let me start with that. So before starting, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that when I upload new video, you get updated with that. Okay. So first thing, what we have to do is we have to change the design name of all these text boxes and daytime picker and these stuff as well. So starting with the first one, just right click and go to properties. Here you can see this on this property. Here we are. So again we have to do that, and after that change the design name. Here we have this. So first is text box 1. So I'm going to change this one to text box txt name so that I can easily identify that this is text box of which in which we are accepting the name. So this make our coding easy. So in the same way we have to do for the next stuff. So let me change this one to txt father and this one to txt mother. This one to txt.dob, change this one to txt.mobile, this one to, it's a combo box but I'm going to write this txt.gender, and after that this one to txt.email, this one to txt.blood group, after that this one to txt.city, and change this one to txt.address. Okay, in the same way we have to change the name of these buttons too. So I'm going to change this one to btn save and this one to btn reset. Okay, so we still left with some stuff, that is we haven't added anything into these drop down or combo box. So I'm going to add few stuff. So in gender we have male, female and other. So I'm going to add that male, female and other, and just hit OK. Now these items has been added into this combo box. In the same way we have to add the blood group. So let me just copy the all possible blood group from our complete project. So we just move over here, and after that click on this edit items, and I'm going to copy this stuff. Okay, and in the same way you can just pause the video and you can write it manually, or you can search on the internet for all the possible blood groups. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. Now let me just start this and check that if the items is added into that combo box or not. So I've started the project. So it will take a little bit of time. And after that, let me just click on this. And here you can see this. When I click on this, all this stuff are visible. In the same way, when I click on this, all this stuff are visible. But here you can observe one small stuff. That is, you can actually manually write it in this. And we don't want this. So how to remove this? So let me just close this and show you how to remove that stuff. So just click on this and right click and go to properties. In the properties, you have to find one property, that is drop down style. In the drop down style you have to change this one to drop down list. In the same way we have to do for this one too. So drop down style from drop down to drop down list. Now let me start this and show you quickly that is that working or not. Add new donor, and when I click something, here you can see this, we can't write anything. When I click on this, it simply open our list. In the same way for this one too, we cannot write anything over here. Okay, so now task till here is done. So now what I want is, first thing, I want a container in which I have to store the data. So these data needs to be stored somewhere. For that, first we need a container. So for that, I'm going to create a table. Before that, I'm going to create a database. So first thing, I have already created a database with the name blood bank. You have to just execute this query into your database, that is create database blood bank, this query. Okay, after that you have to write this query by selecting here. You can see this, I have selected blood bank. So here you may have multiple options. You have to select the blood bank. Here you can see this database, whatever database you name, you have to select that, and after that you have to just write this line of query. Just pause the video and write this query, and after that just click on execute after selecting this much stuff. This will create a table with the name of new donor. Okay, so don't make any spelling mistakes, just be sure. This DID is first is the primary key, which will be automatically incremented. Here you can see this. Here we have the database. In this we have actually, for now we have 4 records. Here you can see this after 4. After here 3 is missing because I have already deleted the record of 3. So that's not an issue. So this is DID, that is the ID for this table, and here you can see this. For mobile I have used big int because in int we cannot store the 10-digit value, that is int is not that much enough to store a 10-digit mobile number. So that's why I have used this big int. Okay, so you have to write these line of stuff. I hope you have executed this query. Let me move back to our project. So here we have, first thing what we have to do is we have to make a new class. For how to do that, for that just go to Solution Explorer, right click on that and click on add, and after that you have to add a just class. Here you can see this, you have to add a class, and I'm going to name this class function because we are going to put the function into these class and going to access that again and again. So I'm going to write this one function. Okay, and hit add. Here you can see this, we are added with a new function class. Here you can see this. In this class, what we have to do is first we have to make a database connection. So first thing what I need is, when this form loads, here we need the ID of the next donor. So suppose in the database you can see here we have the last ID is 5. So now the new ID will be 6. So I want that here needs to be 6 when this program starts. So how to do that? I'm going to show you exactly that. So in function, first thing what I have to do is I have to make a method to get connection, public and SQL connection. Why I have written connection over here? Because this method will return you have to import the library, that is using system.sql.data sql.client. So I have done in that way. You can see this when I here you can see this, I have removed that, and after that you have to do like this and you have to click on this and it will automatically add it, or you can manually write it over here. So I have written, let me just write this first and after that I will show you. So I am going to name this method, that is get connection. Okay, so why I am going to give this type, here you can see this SQL connection. Why I have written this? Because suppose you are using, generally you haven't used this type of function, I'm just going to refer you that. So public, I'm going to write one method so that you can understand this stuff easily. Public int abc, and it's return 5. I guess you all are familiar with this. This means that whenever we call this method, this will return an integer type value. That's why we have written over int. So in the same way, I have uses SQL connection over here because this function is going to return a SQL connection object. Okay, so I hope you understand this. Let me remove this and complete my function first. Okay, so I'm going to actually make a connection with my database. So SQL connection con equals new SQL connection. After this, I have created a connection object, and in this we have to pass the connection string. So how to pass the connection string? So we have to write con dot connection string equals, and in this double quotes, what we have to do is we have to write, let me just make this full screen so that you can see clearly. Okay, so after this what we have to do is we have to write here data source equals, and here we have to mention one stuff. Just move back to your database. Here you will find this file. You have to click on this connection object explorer, click on this, and here you will find the server name. Just copy this stuff and just move back to your project, and after that you have to paste it over here and you have to add one more slash here, otherwise it will show an error. Okay, so let me move back this one to full screen. After this what you have to write is you have to write the database name. So as I have already shown you that my database name is blood bank, so I'm going to write that blood bank without space, and after this you have to write integrated security equals true. Make sure your T is in capital and don't make any spelling mistake, otherwise it will generate an error. So here you can observe that it's underlined with the red because we haven't returned the SQL connection yet. So after writing this query, this line of the code, that is connection string, now our the connection with the database will be established. So now what we have to do is we have to type return nothing but connection. So here you can see this, now our error has been resolved. Now with this method we can get the connection. Okay, so after this I have to write one more method to get data. Okay, so here you can observe this. In this what I want is when this form loads, this label needs to be fixed with the next value which we are going to assign, which the new donor is going to be assigned with that value. Okay, so we are going to fetch the data and show data into this. So I am going to write a method with public, and in this the data will be is an data set. So we are going to return type of this will nothing but data set. Data set. It's not showing because we haven't imported the library. Okay, so let me just import that using system.data. Just click on this and this will include into your library. Okay, import the library. So data set. With this method this method is going to return a data set. So after this what we have to do is we have to just name this method get data. Okay, and in this first thing what I need is a connection. So SQL connection, and I'm going to write an object, and from where we are going to get the connection from this method. So how to get the connection? So we have to simply write get connection because we have already written that method. So when I write this method, it's going to return con this object, and we are going to directly use this. Okay, so our connection is established. Now what we have to do is we have to write this SQL command, and in this we have to pass the command equals new SQL command. We have to create an object of SQL command, and after that cmd dot connection, and connection object is nothing but con. We already have this. Here this con is not this one. This one is the object which we have created, which we are using to store the returned connection. Okay, so I'm going to use this one over here, not this one. Okay, so here you can see this. After this what we have to write is we have to write the command text. So command text, we are not going to hard code the command text. We are going to pass the command text from where this method is called. For that I'm going to accept this method one variable, one argument, that is string, and I'm going to name it query, and we have to write command text is equal query. Okay, so whenever someone call this method and write query within it, then that query is going to execute over here, and the result from that query will be stored in this data set. So now I am going to create a data set object. Before that, I'm going to create a SQL data adapter. So DA equals new SQL data adapter. In this, we are going to pass the command, and after this, data set, I'm going to use set ds equals new data set, and after this, we have to use data set dot fill, and we have to fill the data set. And now we will have the data into this data set object. So we have to return that data set. So I'm going to use return nothing but ds object. So when I write ds, here you can see this, the error has been resolved. So now our connection is ready and we have write the query to get data. So this method is going to return the data. So now we move back. I hope you understand this. If not, then I'm just going to explain this once again. So in this method, I have written dataset over here because this method is going to return a dataset object. Here you can see this. I am returning a DS. So that's why. Okay. After this, here I have done is SQL connection. I'm just creating an object of SQL connection. Suppose if you are passing an integer in the as an argument in the method, then what you do is you write a int type value like this int a, and in that you accept the value which you get from the argument. In the same way I have did over here. So SQL connection con, and I have returned the call this get connection method, and this connection has been stored into this object. After that, I have created a SQL command object, and in this I have passed the connection over here. And after that, in command text, I have created an object that is query, and I'm going to use that query over here. So I'm going to show you how to use this query. And in this, I have created SQL data adapter. In this, I have passed the command, and in the same way, I have created object of data set, and finally, I have filled that data set. So now move back to form. Here, what I want is when this form loads, this label needs to be filled with the data. So just let me just move from this full screen and let me change the name of this label. So just go to properties and change the name from this. Okay, so label new ID and hit enter. So now just double click on this form to generate a load event of this form. Just double click on this, and here you can see this new donor load event is generated. So now here what I need to do is, what I want actually is, I want to set the value. So now we have a get connection which will return the data. So here I'm going to create an object first, a variable first, that is query, because first we have to pass the query. Okay, within that. So let me just move back to database, and here let me just show you which query we have to write. So we have to write select. So what we need to do is I want to select the max number into this. Here you can see this. So I'm going to write the query select max, and which max is actually a method. You can just go to W3 school or you can refer somewhere else. Just read about this. This will select the max column name which you pass inside this. So I'm going to pass the TID, that is the column name, max TID. I'm going to select that, and after this from which table, that is nothing but new donor. So when I execute this, what you're expecting, what will happen? So it's nothing but just going to give a result that is nothing but 5. So let me just execute this, and here you can see this 5. So I'm going to execute this query. So I'm copying this and move back to our project, and I'm going to write it over here. Here you can see this. Select max DID from new donor. So we have to pass this query to get record. Okay, so how to use that get record? For that, I'm going to write, actually we have to create an object for this class. So you have to write function fn equals new function. So now our object is created. So using this, creating this function on this place is not that much nice, because we are going to use this function object multiple times. So why not just declare it outside this method? So let me just cut this and let me place it over here. So just going to place it. Okay. And from here we can, in any method you can use this function object actually. Okay, and with this object you can call any method inside this one. Make sure you declare that public. So I'm going to declare this one protected because we are not going to use this connection method outside this class. Okay, so I have written that protected. So now move back over here. So now here you can see this. Now understood what I have did over here. After this string query. So now what we have to do is we have to call that method. So that method is going to return a data set. So first thing, what I am going to create a data set variable. So I'm going to write this ds and equals, and after this what we have to do is I have to use that function fn object, that is fn, and hit enter. Dot, our method is what? Get data. Here you can see this. In this get data, here you can see this. If I directly write this, this will show error because it's expecting one string value. So I am going to pass query. When I write this, now our error has been resolved. And after this, what we have to do is in the data set, the data is in the form of table. So we have to extract the data from data set. So let me just actually show you a quick stuff. That is, let me just add. Okay, so I'm going to add a breakpoint over here. So now I'm going to check that if this data set is filled with 5 or not. So let me just start this. So this is on form load event. So when I click on this, the form load event will be executed and we will move back to the breakpoint. So click on this, and here you can see this. We are on over here. So I'm going to check out this data set. So just click on this, and here you can see this. We have the value 5. So this 5 value is in the 0th row and 0th column. So let me just show you how to extract that value, and we have to convert that value in integer type. Okay, so I'm going to do that. First stop this project and let me just remove this breakpoint and let me just change these few stuff. So end, and I'm going to use this count and equals, and we have to convert that into int because that's in the form of a string. So int dot parse, and within this we have to use this data set object ds dot, the data is in the form of table, so ds dot 0, and from this we need rows and which row we want, 0th row, and which column we want, 0th column, and we have to convert this into two string. So if you are worried about that, why we are converting this into two string, that's not an issue. If you don't convert this, then this will be in the system format, so this will generate an error. We cannot convert that system format into integer with the help of this parse. So we have to convert that value first into a string, and then that string will be converted into integer type with the help of this parse method. So now we have the value int over here. So now we have to set that value. So label new id dot text. The new id, label new id is the name of that label in which we want to set the text. So here you can see this. I'm going to set the value. So count dot to string. We have to convert that, and here you can see this. Now start this, and you will find that the value will be set now. So I'm going to start this, and here you can see this. We have the 5. But what I need is this 5 is already allotted with the value. This 5 is already used. So here we have to show the next ID. So we have to increment this one by 1. So how to do that? For that you have to just do small stuff over here. So count plus 1, and you have to put this inside the bracket. According to the board master rule, the bracket is first resolved. So after this will be added, and after that this will be converted into two strings. So let me just start this and show you if that working or not. Just click on this. Here you can see this. Now we have the value 6. So now when I fill this data and just save this, so this will be 7. Okay, so that's fine. So now I'm going to insert these values into the database. Okay, so for that, first thing what we have to do is we have to write one more method. So here we have written a method to get data, so it will return a data set. So one value needs to be that should be set data. So that should be only perform the data operation like insertion, deletion, and updation can be performed with that function. So here I am going to write one more method, that is public, and it will return nothing, void insert, okay, sorry, set data. And in this we still need one string query, and in this we have to write the same stuff, that is SQL connection con equals, and we have to get the connection, get connection, and after this we have to write SQL command cmd equals new SQL command, and after this we have to write cmd dot connection equals con, and con dot open, we are going to open the connection because we are going to use execute non-query. So after opening the connection, what we have to do is we have to write cmd dot command text, and this command text I have already explained you, nothing but query, and after the cmd dot execute query, sorry, execute non-query, and you have to just use like this, and cmd dot, sorry, we have to close the connection, con dot close, and this will close the connection. So after this I want a response from that our project, so I want to set message box. So we cannot use directly because we haven't imported this inside this function, so you have to just do like this using system windows form. So while writing this stuff here will just save you a lot of time, because if you don't write it over here, so every time you're going to set the data in that place, you have to just use that method. Okay, you have to actually write this message box, so I'm going to write it directly over here. So message box dot show, and here what you have to do is write a data processed successfully. Okay, so this statement is actually good for insertion, deletion, and updation. Everything fits into this statement, so data processed successfully. Okay, after this I'm going to write the name of this message box success, and this message box needs to be few buttons. There's nothing but okay, I need only one button, and icon needs to be information dot information, and just close this, and just, so our task till here is done. So I hope you understand what is the set data. So set data is a method to perform operations like insertion, deletion, and updation. So these operations can be performed with this method, and this method is used to actually get the data from database. Okay, so in this first I have made this a connection, so I have used this method void because it's not going to return anything. Okay, so in this I'm going to use this query which is being passed by the user when this method is being called. Okay, so let me just move back to design part, and after this what I need is when I click on the save button, I want to just extract the values from these text boxes, and after that save into the database. So let me just double click on this. Here you can see this. First thing what I want is I want to check that if none of these text boxes are empty while we are going to insert the data. So first I'm going to check that. So if first text box name is txt name, so dot text, and sorry, not equals null. So in this way, and is used to check that all the condition which I'm going to write. So txt after the second thing is father dot text is not equals null, and then the same way we have to write for the txt mother dot text not equals null, and finally we have txt dob dot text is not equals null. The same we have to do for the rest, so I'm going to write that quickly. Mobile dot text is not equals null. Txt, and after mobile what we have is we have gender dot text is not equals null, and txt gender after that we have email dot text is not equals null, and we have txt blurred group dot text is not equals null, and after that what we have is txt city dot text is not equals null, and finally we have txt address dot text is not equals null. So I'm going to check these much of stuff. Okay, so how many text boxes we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So 10. So I'm going to check that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9 and 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Okay, so our task till here is done. So if it's empty, so I'm going to show the user, else I have to write nothing but message box dot show fill all fields, simple and short, and this message box name error, and this message box button needs to be OK, and message box icon needs to be error. So let me check that if it's working or not. So let me just start this and just click on this add new donor, and when I click on this, here you can see this fill all records and error. The message box name is error. So now I'm going to fill first one, second one and third one and try this again. Here you can see this, it's still showing the same record. So now it's working fine. Here you can see this still working. So now we are ready, we are good to go. Okay, so now first thing what I need is we need the values from that text boxes, comma boxes and date time figure into the variables. So I'm going to start doing that. So string d name, that is the donor name, and from the txt name, from the txt name is the text box design name. So from this what I need is I need text. So in the same way from the second text box, that is nothing but f name, that is father name, so equals txt father dot text string m name equals txt mother dot text, and after this what we have is string dob equals txt dob dot text. After this we have mobile number. Let me just check that if I am right or not. So dob we have mobile number. So mobile number is, I have shown you in the database, mobile number is in the integer big int format, so I'm going to convert that into integer type. So int64, and we have to use mobile equals, and we have to convert that into int64. So int64 dot parse, and we have to then pass this txt mobile dot text, and after this we have to check that what we have as string gender equals txt gender dot text, and after this what we have is after gender we have email, so equals txt email dot text. Make sure you maintain the order of that, because in the database I have just written the columns in the same order in which I have written in this design view. So the string email, and after that we have blood group. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe. Blood group dot text. And after blood group we have city and address. So string city equals txt city dot text, and string, finally we have address, and we have to write txt address dot text. So now we have all the value into the variable. So now we have to write the query. In the previously I have shown you that we have to write the query in this way. So I'm going to write this query. So we have to write the query for this insertion. So I'm going to write string and query. I'm going to create an variable query equals, and in this I have to write the query. So which query I have to write is double quotes. I have to write insert, and which data actually in which table we are going to insert is nothing but insert into new donor, and the column name from these, here you can see this is the column name is D name, F name, M name, DOB, mobile, gender, email. So you have to mention these stuff. So moving back to our project, and here in this we have to write this table names, column names. So I'm going to write D name, the second column name is F name, third one is M name, fourth one is DOB, fifth is mobile, sixth is gender. After that we have email, and we have blood group, and after blood group we have city, and we have the address. And after this you have to write, let me just make this one full screen so that you can easily watch over me writing the codes. So after this you have to write values. So now in these columns we have to insert the values. So we have to write values, and which values we want to insert is, so for that we have to write within that brackets, and within this you have to concatenate these values with this string. So how to do that? For that, first thing, D name, donor name is in the string format. So for that, just single quotes, after that double quotes, within double plus, and double quotes, then single quotes. Within this you have to write D name. Okay, here you can see this. Now error has been resolved. After D name, what we have is we have F name. So in the same way you have to do that, F name, and after this we have nothing but M name, that's also a string, M name. After M name we have DOB, that's also a string. So I'm going to write that, just comma, put comma, and after that DOB, that is date of birth, and after DOB we have mobile number. So make sure while writing mobile numbers, let me just show you, for writing mobile number you have to write like this in double quotes only, just exclude these single quotes over here. So after DOB we have mobile, after mobile we have gender. So gender needs to be in the string format, so it will be in the same, so gender. After gender we have email, blood group, city, so just single double quotes, single quotes, and within this plus gender, and we have email plus, in the same way we have, after email we have blood group, that is blood group. So we have to write blood group, so B group. So just press this CTRL in the space, it will automatically complete your sentence which we are writing. writing. Okay, so after this blood group, what we have is city. So I'm going to write that. So city, and after city we have address. So that's also a string. So address, and now our query is done. So let me just make these all small little bit. So you can pause the video and you can write it from the scratch. So let me just okay. So now this one is nice. So you can see this insert into new donor, and these are the actually the column name from the database and the values which we are going to insert. So D name, F name, M name, DOB, mobile, gender. Just pause the video and write these stuff and till here. You can count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now we have these 10 stuff. So now the query is done till here. So after this, what I have to do is we have to just call that method with this string. Okay. So just hit enter, and after this you have to call the method that is fn. The object of that function class is already created on the upside. Let me just show you once again. So here you can see this. We have this function object fn equals new function, and here you have to write it. Actually, we have to set the data. So I'm going to use this set data, and in this we have to write the query and just close this. Now let me just start this and show you that if this work or not. Okay. So now our project has started. Now just click on add new donor, and here you can see this 6, and I'm going to add some value that is Rohit, and the father name is Sunil, and mother name is Ankita. We just select the date of birth and mobile number like this, and after that gender male, email rohit@gmail.com. Blood group needs to be positive, and after that from this one is from Patna, and Patna, and this one is Bihar. Just click on save. Data process successful. Okay, here you can see this message box actually written inside that method. So I'm going to, it means that this method is working fine. So let me just click on OK, and here you can see this. When I close this and when I reopen this form, this data needs to be 7. So close this and click on this. Here you can see this. Now we have the value 7. So now just check the database. So is that value is inserted into the database or not? So select a star from new donor and execute this. Here you can see this. 6 value is Rohit, Sunil, Ankita, and here you can see this. Everything is working fine. So now our save button is working fine. Okay. So now we are left with one button that is nothing but reset. So what I want is when I click on this reset, all the text field needs to be empty. So just double click on this and this will generate a reset click button event. And after this we have to write this few stuff that is nothing but txt name dot clear. And after that txt father dot clear. That is the text box's name, design name. So txt mother dot clear, and after this we have txt dob dot, and in this we have to use reset text because it's a daytime picker. Txt mobile dot text, sorry, dot clear, and after this mobile we have txt gender. So in this I'm going to use this reset text, and txt after gender we have email dot clear, and after that txt blood group. So blood group is also a combo box, so that's why I'm going to use reset text, and finally we have txt city dot clear, and after this we have txt address dot clear. So now the task for this button is also done. So let me just start this, and after this let me just move back over here, and here you can see this. Now whatever I write something inside this, and I'm going to click on this reset button, this will clear all the text field. So now this is working. So in the next video I'm going to show you, let me just start this project, This is actually a complete project. Okay, so it's taking a little bit of time. So it's on the login page. So as I have already shown you how to design this stuff. So let me just move back to the dashboard. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to design this add detail form, and after that, how to backend code for this. Okay, so thanks for watching, and please subscribe and hit the bell icon, and just stay tuned to our channel to get updated and for the new content as well. So thanks for watching.